Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholoim La Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim Kahakodash. Double honors to all apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and that by the Spirit taught us his beautiful truth. And just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and H.I.M that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawaf just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And, the apostles have been going off into back to the basics, going into the milk of the scriptures, which also, this particular subject or topic can be a little bit more meat, little dark saying, so to speak, because a lot of people can't grasp onto the fact that you are exactly what your dad is. They really, America or Western society has taught our people and just people in general that, from a Western mindset that you are half and half of this and 2/3 of this and 1/3 of that, but that's not the case. Your seed line goes to your dad. It doesn't make no difference what your mom is. Your seed line, it goes directly through your dad. Your lineage, your ancestry, your pedigree, it goes through your dad. Because your dad is the one that's carrying you to begin with in his ball sacks. And not to sound, graphic, but anyway, just straight to the point. It is what it is. You are children in your father already. So you are exactly what he is. A woman, she is no more than like ground or earth, soil to plant the seed in, and she nourishes the seed. And then once the seed comes forth, like any other plant, any other fruit or vegetable, when the seed comes forth, springs forth, that's exactly what the seed is. And the seed comes directly from the dad. And we have to go off into this, you know what I'm saying? Because there are newcomers that's, coming into this truth on a day-to-day basis. This Israelite truth is growing. So we have to go back to the basics. And because it's always good to get milk, man. That milk, you can always rely on that milk. You know what I'm saying? But, as you get older in this truth, of course you're going to learn more things. Of course you're going to grow. But still, to keep you kind of based or humble, on a foundation. I like the milk. I love the milk of the scriptures. Anyway, I've gone off into a few articles on this guy before. This is the TV show Finding Your Roots. If you're familiar with that, I remember doing an article on this brother right here, Joe Manganiello, if I'm pronouncing his name right. This guy all the way to the right here. Now, if you've seen him, the average person would think that this is a so-called white man, but he's actually a so-called black man. So now they have this one entitled, "For some white celebrity guests, finding your roots means learning you're black." So of course we know that there's another thing that we have to teach as well, is that there's no such thing as white people. There's no such thing as black people. There are different shades of red people, which are Edomites. That's their biblical nationality, because all nations got a biblical nationality. Colors are not ethnicities. And there's no such thing as black people. There's just different shades of brown people. So again, there are different shades of red people on the planet and different shades of brown people. Lightish pinkish to darker reds, lighter browns to dark chocolates, you know what I'm saying, so to speak. But anyway, and the so-called white race, their biblical name again, and their nationality is they come from Esau, Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. The so-called black race, Hispanic Native American race, comes from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Esau and Jacob were twins, but Esau came out, missing that melanin. He came out red. The scriptures describes him as coming out red, So, and that was a different look for a person to come out looking like that. Well, that's a different lesson. I mean, that's another lesson as well. But I wanted to just get a little bit of this because they're trying to make it seem as if this so-called white woman, she has black ancestry. But the ancestry is going through, I think they're saying her grandmother, or it's going through the woman. So if the ancestry of her so-called having 10% of what they're saying, she's 10% black in her, is coming from a mother, it still doesn't, negate the fact that, if her father is an Edomite or a so-called white man, that's exactly what she is. That's exactly what she is. Anyway, let me read a little bit. PBS hit series Finding Your Roots is must-see television for its more than 4 million weekly viewers who tune in to learn about their favorite star's family history. Whether it's Angela Davis learning that she's a direct descendant of founding fathers. I think, and Angela Davis, which is one of those so-called black power leaders, she's a so-called white woman all this time. All, all this time she been out here rooting with her fist in the air, talking about black this, black that, but she's a damn Edomite, man. And that goes off into the parable of the wheats and the tares as well. But it says, learning that she's a direct descendant of founding fathers, or Tracy Morgan finding out that he and Nas are third cousins. When celebrities hear the truth about their ancestry, there's always a surprise, especially when a white guest finds out they have African ancestry. So that's pretty much what this particular article was going into. It says, series host Henry Louis Gates Jr. sat down with our very own editor-in-chief, Tasha Robinson, to talk about some of the biggest surprises he's delivered to a white celebrity on the show. Gates recalled a season 4 shocker when he shared the results of singer Carly Simon DNA test. Genealogists discovered that the singer is 10% African, which is the equivalent of having a great-grandmother with full African ancestry. It turns out that Simon's grandmother pretended to be of Spanish and Moroccan heritage, when in reality she was a black woman from Cuba. Okay, so what does that say? All that's saying is that, okay, she had a great grandmother that was so-called black, but what's her dad? Which they didn't. I don't think they went into it. It says, we have never tested a white person as black as you, Gates told Simon. So I'm assuming that her dad is a so-called white man. But if he's a so-called white man, she's an Edomite and she's going into slavery in the kingdom. It's simple. It says, but as Gates told us, Simon's DNA results weren't exactly a surprise to him. Carly Simon is a good friend. I look at her lips and I'm like, damn, I got to do that DNA. He laughed. Okay, so she probably picked up on some of them traits of, little so-called black women. Johnny Cash's daughter, Roseanne, was shocked to learn that her mother, Johnny's first wife, Vivian, had African ancestry after the couple portrayed that she was a Sicilian heritage for years. And a lot of Sicilians are so-called black people. Because, the Israelites were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So there are a lot of men. A lot of our men slept with the women of those nations and just laid seed in those nations, man. And those children, after they have sons and those sons grow up and they may marry someone of that particular nationality, then they have sons, then so on and so forth. But it all goes through the sons. It goes through the man. You see? So there are Israelites that's out here that look like so-called white people, look like so-called Chinese, so-called Japanese, so on and so forth. We look like everybody on the planet. But your seed line has to go through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's what makes you an Israelite. And that's why when you go into the book of Revelation, I'm not going to go into it right off because it's, another lesson. But some of the vision that John saw, as far as like the people, because they look different. He's like, well, who are these? So to speak, roughly paraphrasing. But they were all the children of Israel, just looking like different nations. Because at his time of living, there was just dark-skinned people. He knew his people. There wasn't no people really. I mean, I'm sure it was people running around, with different looks. But it was more, you got to say 2,000 or so years ago, the looks of the Israelites were a lot more pure. A lot more, you pretty much know who you was dealing with, so to speak. But they did understand that your seed line goes to your father, right? Okay, so it says, long before that, people had accused her of being black, which even sparked Cash and Vivian to file a lawsuit. She always believed she was Italian and German, but Gates discovered her maternal great-great-grandmother was a slave named Sarah Shields. Her white father in 1848 granted her and her 8 siblings their freedom. See? Eventually, Shields illegally married a white man, and since then, her descendants were always listed as white. So, here's a situation where this is an actual white woman. She just got some so-called black features. It's going to be like that sometimes. And we always use the example of, the Maury twins, what's this guy that Jussie Smollett and them Smollett kids, Lenny Kravitz, Diana Ross' daughter, what's her name? Tracy Ellis Ross. Those are so-called white people. They just so happen to look like us because they picked up on some of those traits as far as the so-called black race. So now, let me just go up into the scriptures real quick. Because we go by the scriptures. We not, the Bible says, let Yahweh be truth and every man a liar. Roughly paraphrasing. We're not going by what the so-called white man is telling us, because he's a damn liar. And he's the one that's got all this confusion going on about telling people that they're biracial, they're mixed, they're multiracial. I'm 1% this, I'm 2% that, I'm 20% this, and I'm 15% that, with all this DNA shit. And the scriptures talks about if your spirit resonates with the spirit of this word, then you're an Israelite. Okay, but let me get verse 1. Numbers chapter 1 and verse 1. This is how we know your ancestry or your pedigree goes to your father, or the scriptures proves it. But back then, this was a natural thing that people knew. Okay, but it says, and Yahweh spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the tabernacle of the congregation on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls. So it says by the house of their fathers, not the house of their mothers. Every male by their polls, not every female by their polls. This is how ancestry, it's always been that way. It's always been that way. That father is the one that carries the seed. You can't get around it. Verse 18, now it goes on to list off the tribes. So we know that these are all men. It names off all the 12 tribes, right? Goes on down, well, let's get to point in verse 18. It says, and they assembled all the congregations together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families. So what's a pedigree? Matter of fact, let's look it up. Let's see if we can Google it. I might be able to. Let's see. Let's get Google's definition of pedigree. I think it's dictionary Salakia. The second definition here, it says the recorded ancestry, especially upper class ancestry, of a person or family. See? Then it goes on, you got the similar words, you got ancestry, descent, who you descend from, lineage, line of descent, genealogy, family tree, extraction, see? Heritage, parentage, paternity, birth, family, dynasty. So that word goes off into your family tree, so to speak, your lineage. So let me start back up here at the top again. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees, their ancestry, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. That's why you would generally see all these long genealogies of men. Such and such begot such and such. Such and such begot such and such. Such and such begot such and such. Now, do these men have daughters? A lot of these men in the Bible, yeah, they have daughters, but you rarely see them listed, because it's not a part of the pedigree. It's not saying that women are not important. See, we live in a world, in the Western world, where women are placed on this pedestal to the point where, how dare you say that the woman, the seed line comes from the father and the woman has nothing to do with it. It's just true. If a so-called black man lays down with a so-called white woman, all those children are going to be Israelites. If a black woman lays down with a so-called white man, all those children are going to be Edomites. Because it's common sense. It goes by your father. This is something that we have to learn when we come into this truth, right? So we don't really need to go up into too much more into this. But there was another article that I had. You can go into them comments. Comments be crazy as hell. But this is an article I seen right here with Paris Jackson. Explains she identifies as a black woman. Now she appears to be a so-called white woman, and if you're not familiar with her, this is Michael Jackson's daughter, and I'm not sure how that even went about, but anyway. I remember I'd done a lesson on this before, but I seen this article again and kind of seen both of these articles, and just by the spirit, it's just like, well, hey, go ahead and do something on this. This is a back to the basic type of lesson. Okay, it says, in a world where identity and heritage intersect in complex and often unexpected ways, Paris Jackson candid revelation about her racial identity shines a light on the nuisance journey of self-discovery. The daughter of late Michael Jackson, an indelible icon whose own racial identity was a subject of public fascination, Paris steps into her narrative with a bold declaration. She identifies as a black woman. This simply yet profound statement invites us into a broader conversation about race, identity, and the legacy of family heritage. In an intimate interview, Paris Jackson unveils the layers of her identity, challenging the visual perceptions and societal expectations that often dictate how we navigate our world. Her story is not just about the assertion of her blackness, but about the intricate dance between how we see ourselves and how others see us. It's a testament to the power of heritage, the bonds of family, and anyway. The article delves off into Jackson's journey. Let's see. Navigate the complexities of biracial identity. See, there's no such thing as biracial. But let's get this word real quick. And those words are not that old. They're not old like that. You know what I'm saying? As far as these are fairly new words added to the dictionary. Okay, it says biracial, having parents or ancestors from different racial or ethnic backgrounds. That's not. It doesn't go that way, man. It doesn't go that way. But let me see. Let's try something else. Let's see when so like it, bear with me real quick. Let's see if we can find out when was the word biracial first used. Yep, here we go right here. Biracial is, of course, another widely used term. It began showing up regularly in scientific papers in the 1970s. See? That's about a generation ago, you know what I'm saying? Like 50 years ago. Often referring to communities with black and white members, but because of the specificity of bi, meaning two, some argue that biracial was too limited a term. So you can clearly see this wasn't being used, man, back in the day, especially not in the scriptures, not in the Bible. This is, this is some American shit. This is like usual, you know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why the apostles always tell us, hey, it's important to look up words, go into the words, see when, words were, like the letter J, for instance. We always bring that out when it comes to Jesus. Letter J didn't exist when the Lord walked the earth. The letter J is like 500 years old. It was invented in 1524. So we know for a fact that the Lord's name cannot be Jesus. It's not Jesus. It wasn't being used when he walked the earth. There was no English then. There was no letter J, E, O, U, or V. Matter of fact, those letters are not even in the Hebrew alphabet. So we know that he spoke Hebrew. He was from a Hebrew tribe, which is, they say Judah, but Yahweh. And his name is Yahweh in the Hebrew tongue, which means he is the savior or deliverer in the Paleo-Hebrew. And the true name of the Father is Yahweh. It's not Jehovah. It's Yahweh, which means that he exists, or the existing one in the Paleo-Hebrew. So it's important to know those things because those names are very important. And Esau, the so-called white man, he knows the importance of them, but he wants you, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to be naive to the fact that those names are important to you because they understand that once you start calling on those names, it's going to be something different going on in your life, which is the Lord is all powerful, man. And he's waking up the children of Israel to let you know your true identity, which is your Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You're Israelites. Our forefathers spread seed throughout the earth. We are Israelites. We come from one of the 12 sons of Jacob. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Hondurans, Peruvians. Like I said, we were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So we're blended amongst all the people, but still. And the Lord is gonna separate. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go into that. Matter of fact, let's go into it now. The Lord is gonna separate those people that look like us from us. Because there are a lot of people out here, you'd be surprised. There's people out here that look just like black people and they're not. There's people out here that look like just like white people and they're not. See, that's a real sneaky tactic. As a matter of fact, let's go into it. And this is what's going to happen in the end when the Lord, he's going to separate the two. Now, this is the parable of the wheat and the tares, right? I'm going to start at verse 24, Matthew 13 and 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field, right? You got the seed and you got the field. But while men, so in a sense, you know, not to go over your head, the seed, you know what I'm saying, would be, you know, pretty much a representation of the father, and the field would somewhat be a representation of the woman. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's going to tell you what, you know, because it's a parable that's being told, you know. It says, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Tares among the wheat. So now, I always like to go into this as well, right? Now check this out. Let's get a picture of wheat and tares, and you're going to see that they look exactly alike. And the way that I remembered this is because when I grew up in the South, you know, that was, you know, we planted stuff, and I knew about kind of like plants and, you know, vegetables and fruits and stuff. So here's an illustration right here of what this parable is going into. So as you can see, the wheat and the tares, they're side by side, and they look very, very similar. See? Tares look identical to wheat. So now, you really don't know until it actually grows all the way up when it's time to harvest it. That's when you can tell, because it looks a little bit different at the top, just a little bit different. As you can see in this picture right here, that's a perfect picture right there. So let's go back to the parable. So that's just like I said again, you might have somebody out here like you know, a Tracy Ellis Ross or these Maury twins, those two little twins that played on the TV show back in the days. You know, they grown women now, of course, you know, but they have that look of a, you know, just a light-skinned so-called black woman. But those are white women. Tracy Ellis Ross is a white woman, you know. Jussie Smollett is a white dude. But they have, you see, they got them black mothers, so to speak, and they came out with some of those features of the mother. So it's kind of like they can't get away from they can't say nothing but they're black, pretty much, because they look too black. They can't get away from it, you know. But some of them turn out, you know, where you'll have a so-called black man with a so-called white woman. Say, like, for instance, Patrick Mahomes, his children. He's with that so-called white woman. Those kids look like little white kids, but those are little Israelites. So if his son was to grow up and marry a white woman, of course, that color is going to be completely gone. The people are just going to come out of that looking like so-called white people as time goes on. If another son comes along and he marries a white woman, if another son comes along, he marries a white woman. So over time, we've lost the color and the look, but still those people are Israelites. You got to get it, man. Okay, so it says, verse 26. Well, let me get on verse 25 again. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up, so basically you can, you know, when you're looking at it kind of like an illustration of while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. So the enemy will be the so-called white man. Say, for instance, during slavery, you know, he would go in, he would sleep, you know, he would, you know, basically rape our women, you know what I'm saying? He would get her pregnant. And a lot of the times those particular children that came out of those particular unions, a lot of them would be house niggers, so to speak, but they would be light-skinned. A lot of them would be light-skinned, but some of them would actually be dark-skinned. But Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, it didn't make no difference. He didn't take care of them. He put their asses right in the field with the rest of the niggas. So here you go. You would have a straight Edomite in the field with Negroes. But guess what? He's not under the curses of Negroes. So it wouldn't necessarily be as bad for him, you know, because he's not actually, he'll be going through some shit, though. Don't get me wrong, because he got that look. But it's not going to be as extreme as the Israelites, because the Israelites are the ones that's actually under the curse of Deuteronomy 28, if you know what I mean. So it says, while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. which means that, the tares would be the so-called white man, and the wheat would be the so-called black woman, so to speak, right? And went his way. It says, but when the blade sprung up, which would be, kind of a similarity of the child, when the child pretty much came forth and brought forth fruit, there appeared the tares also. So, okay, now you got what appears to be a so-called black person, but is actually not one, because the so-called white man, this is his seed. You got to get it, man. And it says, so the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? So it's going to come a point where you tares, all you so-called white people, you're going to be gathered up anyway. But you ones that have been blended and that's moving, that's in our neighbor, just amongst us, because it's like, it's really scary. They're imposters, and they don't have the spirit that we have. That's why, you know what I'm saying, you can get in real trouble being around an Edomite like that, because actually they have the power to kill. That's why you'll see sometimes they may look like a so-called black person, and they done all kinds of dirt and murked all kinds of people, deleted all kinds of people, and done all kinds of crimes, and they only get like a slap on the wrist. You'd be like, well, damn, how the fuck they only got that amount of time? That's because they're Edomites by the Spirit, and they're not under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28 like you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are. These other nations are not under those curses, so we get it more harshly. Anyway, it says, verse 28 again, he said unto them, An enemy has done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay. So he said, No. Lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. That's when you can tell. It says, and in the time of harvest, which the harvest is coming. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be at the end of the world, basically, or the end of this age, when the Lord comes and, to get us out of the hands of our enemies. Okay, but it says, let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. See? But gather the wheat into my barn. So that's a representation of these damn Edomites. And they, after 1,000 years anyway, they're going to get the business. They're going to get that crispy. They're going to get real crispy. But it says to gather my wheat into my barn. Those are going to be the children of Israel. But let's get the parable, because they explain the parable is being explained down here. Let's see. Verse 36. Then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. So even, you know what I'm saying, like the disciples didn't know this parable. They, but they had access to the Lord to ask him. It says, he answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good. And when you're going into the parables, there's also a scripture where it talks about, it was given to the men of the Lord to know the mysteries. It wasn't given to everybody else. That's why the Lord always spoke in parables. Everywhere that he went, he spoke in parables. The only people that were to wake up and to get it were the ones that the Lord had enlightened to wake up and to understand that parable. It could be 100 people sitting there listening to the same parable, and only one person might walk up, come out of it, snap out of that spiritual sleep that they're in. The Lord wasn't running around trying to wake up everybody. This is only meant for the elect of Israel, those that have ears to hear. That's why he would always say that. If you have ears to hear, which it means, understanding, so the truth, this truth is not for everybody. I just wanted to just touch on that real quick. Okay, so here, verse 37, he says, and this is all red letters, so we know that this is Yahushua speaking. He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man, right? The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. See that? So these Christians, when they get to telling you about everybody can be saved, that's not in the Bible, man. This right here is a clear cut to that right there. He's telling you that there's some wicked ass people out here, that, there's a wicked seed of people. And that goes back to the serpent and his seed. Pretty much, you know what I'm saying? So it says, the enemy that sowed them is the devil, which is that word devil goes off into deceiver. Not some red guy underground, and this lake of fire that they lying about, because none of that is in the scriptures. That's just a fable, man. There's no such thing as some burning place under the ground with some guy with a pitchfork. He's standing there, just on guard, waiting on you to get there. Talking about, aha. No, that's not scriptural, man. This word is going off into a deceiver. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels, right? As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. See that? So what did he say? He's going to gather the tares up into a bundle to burn, and he's going to gather the wheat to go into his barn. And so that's a parable, though. So when you put it all together, this is what's going to happen in the end, because you do have, now, there are just, you just know that these fuckers just Edomites. They're just so-called white people. But there are people that's out here, that's in the world, that look like so-called black people. That's just like, I just found out, what's her name? The bald head chick with always got the blonde bald head hairdo with the damn tattoo on her damn head. Amber Rose. Just found out she's a Edomite. I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? But if you go off into, if you just, kind of Google, trying to think how to exactly word it. Slovakia. I'm just going to, let's put in mixed race celebrities. It's a gang of them out here, man. See? It's a gang of them. It's a whole bunch of these people. And like this guy right here, always, well, you can kind of tell when you think about it now, he's a so-called black man. But, I used to always think that he was a so-called white man before I came into this truth. This guy right here used to always think that he was a so-called white man, but he's a so-called black man. Their fathers are so-called black men. Oh, this right here is Quincy Jones' daughter. She's a so-called black woman. So you got to imagine, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I mean, it just is what it is. It's a whole gang of these celebrities, man. So when you get off into checking out, you just got to look, hey, who's the parents? I got it on images right now, but let's go into all. Let's see. Of course, we know Dwayne Johnson. They got, okay, this is a good one right here. 62 mixed race couples who have actually talked about, let's see, this is BuzzFeed, though. I don't want to go through all of it, though. This is Olivia Rodrigo. Says she's Filipino, German, and Irish. Okay, says her great grandfather immigrated from the Philippines. Okay, but I mean, it's Israelites everywhere. She could be an Israelite. Got Saweetie, black and Filipino heritage. Supposedly here, let's see though. But see, you have to find out who that dad is. That's gonna be the main important part as to how you're gonna know. Yep, her dad is black, so she's an Israelite. You got Hines Ward, football player, black and Korean. Said the black kids didn't want to hang out with me because I had a Korean mom. So he got a Korean mom, but hey, you can tell that's a Jake. You see what I'm saying? Who else they got? Naomi Osaka, of course, that's the tennis player. I think her dad is Haitian. Yep, Haitian and Japanese. She's an Israelite from, I think, yep. She's an Israelite. Kimora Lee Simmons. Never really knew much about her. She's supposedly black and Korean and Japanese. Korean Japanese mother. Her dad is African American, so she would be an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. See? It is what it is. I just want to just scroll through a few. Henry Golding is of English and Malaysian heritage. Hey, he could be Israelite too. Yara Shahidi, black and Iranian. Okay. Oh, yeah. She was the one that was on Blackish. Saying she's half black, half, let me see, what's her? She's not saying which is which, though. She's not saying if her dad is black or her mom is black. I mean, or Iranian, Slovakia. So she could be a damn tear. Anyway, Keegan Michael Key. It's supposed to be black, Polish, and Belgian. Flemish. Never heard of no shit like that. Hey, man, look, people out here all over the earth, man, are from all different types of walks of life. But, yep, his mom is white. Okay, let me see. Oh, yeah, damn. Okay. I didn't even know that. I think he's from here where I'm from right here. Michigan, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, all right. Okay. Ariana Miyamoto, black and Japanese. But anyway, again, you get the point that I'm trying to make here. J. Cole, of course, you know what I'm saying. He knows he's an Israelite too. I've kind of heard stories of him not wanting to accept it because he doesn't want to accept the fact that his mom is going into slavery. So he knows he's an Israelite from what I've heard. Logic. Oh yeah. This dude Logic. He looks like a so-called white boy, but he's an Israelite. Boy actually has some spits too. He used to be able to spit pretty decent. Pretty decent rapper. See a lot of these people. They black. Yep, his dad is black, so-called black. Mariah Carey, so-called black and Irish heritage. But I mean, like I said again, Halsey. Oh, I forgot about her. Halsey, this is a so-called black woman right here. I done a lesson on her before. I think she's with some Edomite right now though. You're having some damn Edomite kids. But anyway, you get the point. More and more people. Tracy Ellis Ross. Like I said, now look at Tracy Ellis Ross. You know, I was growing up, you know, because she used to be kind of fine back in the days. So, but Tracy Ellis Ross is of black and Jewish heritage. Her dad, so she's Amalekite, basically. Amalek, man. But guess what? She came out with that little kinky curly hair. You know, she just looks like a so-called black woman, and she couldn't twist it. You know, it wasn't like she can dye her hair brown and she try and pull off the so-called white. She can't do it. So some of them, they just got to fall into that place. I know, okay, this is her. Okay, so yeah, she's an Israelite, dad black, supposedly. That's mom Filipino. Hey, Barack Obama, this is another damn tear. This motherfucker been running around here, got Negroes, went out and voted for this clown in droves, and they don't even know that he's not an actual Negro. Barack Obama is of Lul, Scottish, Welsh, Irish, German, and Swiss heritage. Let me see. And I think he's a damn Hamite. Yep, he's a Hamite. He's not one of us, man. But and you know, you got Kamala out here. You know that, talking about the first woman of color and all this other shit. Vice President, man, get the hell out of here. She's a damn she's not one of us, man. Anyway, though, you get the point. There's plenty of these people. There's a whole list right here. You know, I just wanted to just make the points and but this is something very crucial when you first come into this truth that we should know. You know, when you're going out to teach on the highways and byways, it's simple scriptures that Matthew chapter 13 with the parable of the wheat and the tares. You know, you can use that, but the main thing is really Numbers chapter 1, right? Numbers chapter 1. You can just get the very first verse, or verse 18. It goes straight off into it, man. So you can't get around it, man. I mean, this is the truth. We're going by what the Lord says. We're not going by Esau, Edom, and this so-called science, man. We're not going by, because this man, he doesn't even believe in the Lord. He's just running around just thinking that he's God. He wants you to believe everything. Matter of fact, he's going against everything that the scriptures are saying and pulling off his own shit. He's the one that's telling you that man can be with man and got laws for it. Woman can be with woman. You don't have to have a gender. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? When the scripture says the Lord put man, male and female together. Can't have children unless they go together. This man, he's got all kinds of weird ass laws all kinds of weirdo shit going on. And they know. Don't think that these people don't know. That's why this is Babylon the Great. That word Babel goes off into confusion, man. This is the most confused place on the planet. The people are confused, and the only real clarity that's in this earth is the scriptures and the men of the Lord, that the Lord is sending out to teach this truth, man. This truth is very, very rare and is very valuable. You should be thanking Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai that you was waking up to this truth, man. Out of the billions and billions of people that are on this planet, the Lord enlightened you. Think about that, man. And we're in the Passover week too. Shabbat, you know what I'm saying? Still got a couple of more hours over this way. But hey, man, look, this is a beautiful, 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 beautiful thing. I was watching Passover, brothers doing their Passover shows, and man, it was just beautiful. All the brothers all in one spirit, man, doing the same thing. And that's scary to Esau. And a lot of, energy went out, as far as the prayers. And the Lord is doing a work in the earth, man. And if he chose you to know this stuff, then, hey, take it seriously, man, and be thankful. So with that, I pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwam Yashala.